to the Bible Sense, where we explore timeless wisdom for modern living. If you like what you hear, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon.
You know, we all think we know the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. But what if the most famous part of that story, the forbidden fruit, is actually a huge misunderstanding? Today, we're going to take a fresh look at what this ancient tale is really trying to tell us. Okay, so let's just dive right in. Most of us grew up hearing this as a pretty simple story about temptation and, a piece of fruit you weren't supposed to eat. But what if the apple, or whatever fruit it actually was, is just a total distraction from the real point? No, seriously, let that question sink in for a minute. What if the main conflict, the whole reason the story is told, has nothing to do with disobeying an order about food? What if that fruit is just a symbol for something way, way bigger, something fundamental to how we live? Because that's the core idea we're diving into. This story isn't really about being naughty and stealing a snack. It's about a deep, fundamental choice that all of humanity has to make between two totally different ways of using power and navigating the world.
So if the fruit isn't the point, then what is? Well, the story's real centerpiece isn't the object of temptation, but where it comes from. You could almost say the main characters in this scene aren't Adam and Eve, but the two trees.
Right there in the garden, humanity gets presented with this ultimate choice, and it's represented by these two very different trees. On one side, you have the tree of life, and on the other, you've got the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This isn't just background scenery, folks. This is the decision point for the whole story. You see, these two trees represent two profoundly different paths in life. They're like two completely different operating systems for how to be human. So let's break down what these choices actually mean, because it's fascinating.
And here it is, the core contrast. The choice is between partnering with God or seizing power for yourself. It's a decision between a life built on trust and receiving wisdom from a divine source, versus a life where you grab the steering wheel and decide you're going to define right and wrong all by yourself.
Let's look at that first path a little closer. Partnering with God is all about co-creation. It's about living in a relationship of trust, where you rely on a wisdom that's bigger than your own to define what is good and beautiful. It's a posture of receiving.
Now let's flip that coin over. The second path, seizing power. This is basically a declaration of independence. It's the moment where humanity says, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. I'll decide for myself what's good and what's evil. It's about becoming your own God, your own source of moral authority. And when you put it side by side like this, wow, the difference is just staggering, right? In path 1, morality comes from an external divine source. In path 2, it's all internal and self-defined. Your role shifts from being a partner and a receiver to a ruler and a definer, and the whole foundation of your life moves from trust to pure self-reliance. They are total opposites.
So what are the stakes here? Why does this choice even matter? Well, it turns out the consequences are absolutely massive. This isn't just some philosophical idea, it has real, dramatic results for all of us. And here we go. This is the big claim. That one choice, the decision to seize power and define good and evil for ourselves, is presented as the ultimate source, the very root of every human conflict that has ever existed. And you can totally see the logic, right? It's a tragic but simple domino effect. First, we decide we're in charge of defining what's good. But then, of course, my definition of good is eventually going to clash with your definition of good. And the final, unavoidable step? Conflict. It becomes the natural result. Okay, so here's the crucial takeaway. This is not just some dusty old parable about the distant past. It's a story about a choice that is alive and real for every single one of us, every single day of our lives. And this is why this all matters right now. Every single day, in 1,000 small and large ways, we are choosing which tree to eat from. In our relationships, at our jobs, in the way we see the world, we are constantly deciding, am I going to operate from a place of partnership and trust, or am I going to seize power and insist on my own definition of what's right? And that really brings us right to the end, to the one big question this ancient story leaves hanging in the air. It's a challenge that echoes from that garden all the way down to this very moment. So which source of power are you choosing?
Thanks for watching the Bible Sense channel, making Bible sense of the scriptures line upon line, precept upon precept. Like and subscribe for more.